Jean Baudrillard is considered by some to be one of the most important postmodern theorists of our century. It is, however, difficult to summarize his theories due to his unsystematic approach to writing. He has been criticized for this, however it's possible to get a grip on his ideas through the use of examples and analogies. The root of Baudrillard's theories lies in the concept of simulation. The idea is that society has reached a point where we've been completely overcome by our own technology. Social interactions between human beings appear to be receding and disappearing because the humans themselves are disappearing. Do you bury your head in your Instagram feed during your bus journey home? Then I'm talking about you. The line between human and machine becoming less defined by the day. According to Baudrillard, reality is that which can be simulated. The hologram two-pack show, the endless menial job simulator games, and the inevitable virtual reality sex robots. We see on a daily basis young children completely absorbed by tablets and mobile phones to the point where their interactions are conducted almost solely through a screen. As these simulations of reality become more present, easily accessible, and even preferable to the real experiences, our understanding of reality itself no longer ticks the boxes it used to, and so begins to dissolve. These simulations become hyper-real constructs, and this concept of hyper-reality is more prevalent now than it ever has been. Think of films such as The Matrix, which epitomize exactly what Baudrillard was implying, in that it becomes more and more difficult to separate the real from the false. The Jurassic Park series also represents Baudrillard's ideas that reality can be simulated. It shows us that even something as complex as a dinosaur could be created as and when we feel like it, just to please the masses. This is not technology which we will need to wait for a far distant future to achieve. We can also follow this same basic concept to understand how and why celebrities become popular. They're sculpted by the media into whatever figure they feel people want to see, rather than what the person might have previously represented. You can see this example working for itself every day in the mainstream media. Hyperreality currently seems to be taking the form of social media. People would rather believe the news that is being fed to them on Facebook than researching for themselves what is really happening. The situation in North Korea or Yemen being prime examples. Apps such as Snapchat and Instagram employ algorithms in order to show people what others want them to see, based on the things they've already seen and interacted with. This means you'll never be presented with the full scope of reality. With this in mind, Baudrillard says that if anything is real, then war is real. War is an immense human event filled with madness and suffering. It's the closest we can get in these modern times to a true reality, the core of human emotion. When Baudrillard was chosen to cover the Gulf War of the early 90s for a French newspaper, rather than visiting the Gulf, he opted to cover it from the comfort of the television, where the real war would be shown. In his view, he didn't have to visit the Gulf in person to witness the war. He was constantly bombarded upon the unsuspecting public, shown in all its perfect narrative sequencing on CNN every night. The region was left much in the same state as it was when they found it, merely showing the same 1 or 2 missile strikes every night to reinforce faith in America's superior firepower. The public were bitter following America's involvement in Vietnam, a war which was still considered as being very much real. Not an endeavor of justice and glory, but of death and pain. And so the war in the Gulf allowed America to bring even war into the hyper-real. It gave them a new enemy to fight, and that enemy was reality itself. According to Baudrillard, the apocalypse has already come to pass, but this is no reason for despair. We must simply learn to accept and find our own way of living in this hyper-real extension of the world we used to know. In modern times, we change who we are just as if our personality were a piece of clothing. It can be made and changed based on any given situation, such as impressing a relative or communicating with the person you're attracted to. We no longer hold tight to theories or ideologies which justify our existence, and instead rely on immersing ourselves within sensation, real or unreal, like beating a video game for the 3rd time, just for the pure neural thrill. Along with this comes a sense of vertigo as we stare into the abyss of information. And we all know that if you stare too long, eventually the abyss stares back. According to Baudrillard, these sensations leave us with a truth that has no meaning. An entire society that does not clamor for truth, but more and more elaborate lies, until we reach the apex when the lie isn't even good enough anymore. We need the lie better than the lie. We don't need a film about the JFK assassination. We want a film about how the film was covering up the assassination. Layers on layers of information until any semblance of truth is lost in the murk. As our world continues on this postmodern trajectory, these ideals infest ever more aspects of our day-to-day lives. Political campaigns are no longer based on debate, but on the drama of the show, which allows the viewer to immerse themselves in the lie within the lie. So if you're struggling to find a grasp on reality, just take a look around and realize it's already too late. お前はもう死んでいる。何？